I want to encourage you all to never give up on God. And no matter what you're going through in life, I want to remind you that God can still use a broken vessel. I was reading my Bible and praying this morning, and I came across an old clip. I'm not sure if I ever put it up on my podcast, but I went live. It had to be at least, I don't know, at least a year or two ago. I was speaking at an event, and the topic was about the sacredness, of God, and using our workplaces and everything we do, every place we go, everything that we're about, that we need to be a living representation of Christ. So this is just a short clip I want to share with you all from that live event. I listened to a little bit of it this morning. I actually stumbled across it, to be honest with you, and I was at my kitchen table bawling as I listened to it. So I pray that you enjoy this short clip from me reading an excerpt. Well, first of all, I was speaking at an event, and then I paused to read an excerpt from chapter 23 from my book, Necessary. I sincerely pray that it encourages you all. Let's listen in. I love you all. This is chapter 23 from my book, Necessary. This is after my son died, and I felt like I had nothing else to give God. And I wish I can read through more of it, but I'm just going to read through one paragraph. This is me sitting in my secret place with God and asking him, Father, I really have nothing to give you. I'm sorry. You just answered my prayer with a no. And there's a chapter in my book called When God Says No, Can He Still Be Your God? I wish I could go into that, but I can't. But anyway, I said, God, you just answered my prayer with a no. And now you're telling me to give. Are you serious? And I didn't want God to touch me. I knew he was in the room with me. I love him. He's still God, but I couldn't hold him back. And I talk about this place in the spirit where God took me to, where he held me. And he was there and he was present. He began to walk me through all the seasons of my life and show me that every single season I went through was necessary. But I want to read just the very end of this chapter really quickly. Very, very end. I'm going as fast as I can, you guys. From Necessary, this is chapter 23. This was dedicated to the loss of my son. As I observed my life play out before my eyes, I noticed how I began to change from season to season. Something was different about my appearance. In each new scene, I seemed to be clothed with more strength and dignity. Something was different about the way I held my head just a little higher as I walked into each new season of my life. I seemed wiser in the way I handled situations. I appeared more courageous than before, and I seemed to grow in my perseverance. In each season that followed, a stronger character seemed to emerge. Despite all the opposition I endured, I looked more hopeful and, dare I say, faithful as I fought my battles. It was as if each season had a purpose to equip me for the next one. It was as if each season was necessary. I also noticed that I wasn't in any seasons by myself. While I did not always feel God's presence, he was there all along. Through it all, he stood there waiting patiently for me, arms extended, gentle, patient, kind, loving. Then the Lord did something I did not expect. He took me by the shoulders and turned me around to see who was watching my seasons. They were all watching me. They seemed to be observing me from their dark corners. I looked to the Lord with a bit of confusion on my face because I did not understand why a crowd was watching my seasons. I did not understand why they were all standing there like lost sheep looking for us to help them. He said nothing. I stood there for a moment. Then I said, but God, I have nothing to give them. I am tired. I am weak. I am barely hanging on myself. I've been through so much and fought through so many seasons of long suffering. Why would you ask me to help others when I am fighting to have a relationship with you? How can I possibly help them when I am in a season of sorrow? I love you, God, and my answer is still yes to your will for my life. And though you have allowed me to be slayed in this season, I still put my trust in you. But how am I able to help anyone when you are my only hope and strength? And all I have to offer is my pain and suffering and my will to stay in the fight and cling to you. The more I spoke those words, the more my spectators began to walk out of their dark places. It was almost as if they were somehow attracted to the light they saw in us. And somehow, the closer they walked towards us, the brighter they began to shine. I turned to the Lord once again because I did not understand how he could use such a broken vessel to help others. I asked him one last question. I said, God, how is it possible that in my darkest season, I am able to help them shine brighter? He said nothing. He only smiled. I pray you all have been encouraged. Thank you. I pray that greatly encourage you all to listen to me read an excerpt from my book, Necessary. That was chapter 23, a little bit from chapter 23 that you just read. I love you all. I pray that you're encouraged. For those of you who do not have a copy of Necessary, you may not be aware you can get the audiobook directly on my website at unlockinggreatness.com, and the audiobook is available at pay whatever you want to pay for price. I love you all. You're listening to Unlocking Greatness podcast with Zenja Glass. Please share this particular episode with others, because you never know what someone may be going through, and you never know the encouragement that they may need. So this is a rare occasion when I'm asking you to share an episode with others, but you just never know how someone may need to hear the words you just heard. I love you all. You're listening to Unlocking Greatness podcast with Zenja Glass.